Listen to me. Before the world gets a chance to tell you who you are, you must decide first. Because if you don't program your mind every morning, the world will do it for you. And trust me, the world does not have your best interests at heart. This is not motivation. This is mental discipline. This is how winners wake up. Here are the 7 things you must listen to every single morning if you want to change your life. Listen to me carefully. Every single morning, before your feet hit the floor, before the noise of the world rushes in, before doubt gets a vote, there is a moment, a sacred moment, where your mind is open, unguarded, and powerful. That moment will decide the direction of your entire day. Most people waste it. They wake up already behind, already reacting, already letting life pull them instead of leading it. But not you. Not if you understand this truth. What you listen to in the morning becomes what you live out by night. If you start your day consuming confusion, comparison, and chaos, you will perform confused, insecure, and scattered. But if you start your day feeding your mind intention, clarity, and truth, you step into the world centered, dangerous, and prepared. Morning is not routine, it is programming. And the strongest people on earth are not strong by accident. They are strong because they are intentional about what they allow into their minds when the day is still quiet. You must train yourself to listen to purpose before anything else. Not your phone, not the news, not other people's opinions. Purpose. Why you exist, why you started, why quitting is not an option. Because when purpose speaks first, distractions lose their power. Too many people wake up and immediately give their authority away. They scroll, they react, they consume, and by the time they stand up, they are already mentally exhausted. Purpose anchors you. It reminds you that your life is not random, your struggle is not meaningless, and your work matters even when nobody applauds it. When you listen to purpose every morning, you stop asking for motivation and start operating with direction. You no longer move based on how you feel, you move based on why you're here. Purpose doesn't scream, it whispers. And if you don't slow down long enough to hear it in the morning, you'll spend the rest of the day chasing noise. Every morning, you also need to listen to responsibility, radical responsibility, the kind that says, this is on me, not my past, not my environment, not what they did or didn't do, me. Because the moment you take full ownership of your life, you reclaim your power. Blame is seductive. It feels good in the moment, but it keeps you weak. Responsibility is heavy, but it builds strength. When you wake up listening to responsibility, excuses sound ridiculous. You stop waiting for conditions to be perfect and start becoming the kind of person who performs under pressure. You understand that no one is coming to save you, and instead of scaring you, that truth liberates you. Because if it's on you, then you can change it. And when you start your day with that mindset, your actions sharpen, your standards rise, and your results begin to follow. You must also learn to listen to discipline instead of emotion. Mornings are emotional. Your body wants comfort. Your mind wants ease. Your feelings will negotiate with you. They will tell you to delay, to relax, to lower the bar just for today. But discipline doesn't negotiate. Discipline reminds you of the promises you made when you were tired of staying the same. Discipline understands that consistency beats intensity and habits beat hype. When you listen to discipline in the morning, you stop asking, "Do I feel like it?" and start asking, "What needs to be done?" And here's the truth. Most people never learn. Confidence is not something you think. It's something you earn. Every morning you choose discipline, you deposit into your confidence account. Every time you break a promise to yourself, you withdraw from it. Listen carefully. Your self-belief is built or broken before breakfast. Another voice you must intentionally listen to is your future, not your fear. Fear is loud in the morning. It reminds you of what could go wrong, what you failed at before, what people might say if you try again. Fear is obsessed with the past. The future, on the other hand, speaks possibility. It asks better questions. What if you stayed consistent? What if you didn't quit this time? What if the life you want is on the other side of the work you're avoiding? When you listen to your future in the morning, courage becomes a habit. You stop making decisions to stay safe and start making decisions to grow. And growth always feels uncomfortable at first, but regret lasts much longer than discomfort. So choose to feed the voice that builds you, not the one that keeps you small. Gratitude must also be part of what you listen to every morning, not fake positivity. Real gratitude. Gratitude that says, I'm thankful, but I'm not finished. Gratitude that understands how far you've come without losing sight of how far you can go. When you wake up grateful, you stop operating from desperation and start operating from strength. You realize that waking up is already a gift, that opportunity is already present, and that today is not owed to you, it's entrusted to you. Gratitude changes your energy. It changes how you speak, how you move, how you treat people, and how you handle pressure. Ambition without gratitude creates burnout. Gratitude with ambition creates longevity. Listen to gratitude in the morning, and you'll move through the day with clarity instead of chaos. Finally, every morning you must listen to the truth that today matters. Not someday, not when conditions improve. Today. This morning is not small, it's foundational. The way you start sets the tone for everything that follows. Average people treat mornings casually and then wonder why their lives feel out of control. High performers treat mornings like a mission. They understand that small decisions, repeated daily, create massive outcomes over time. You don't need a breakthrough. You need consistency. You don't need more time. You need more intention. Listen to the truth that this day counts, that your actions today are casting votes for the person you're becoming, and that excellence is not an event but a habit. When you wake up with that awareness, you stop drifting and start directing your life. So tomorrow morning, before the world speaks, before doubt gets loud, before comfort tries to negotiate, choose what you listen to. Because the life you want is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in quiet mornings where you decide who you're going to be. And if you master your mornings, you won't have to chase success. Success will recognize you. Listen closely. The moment you wake up, before the day demands anything from you, there is a question hanging in the air, whether you ask it or not. Who is responsible for the life I am living? Most people avoid that question because the answer is uncomfortable. Responsibility doesn't feel good at first. It doesn't comfort you. It doesn't excuse you. It doesn't let you hide. But it gives you something far more valuable than comfort. It gives you control. The fastest way to stay stuck is to believe your life is happening to you. The fastest way to rise is to accept that your life is happening because of you. When you start your morning listening to responsibility, you stop being a victim of circumstance and start becoming the architect of your future. That shift alone separates the masses from the few who actually win. Responsibility forces you to look in the mirror without flinching. No filters, no stories, no one else to point at. Just truth. And truth is powerful when you stop running from it. The reason so many people repeat the same year over and over is because they refuse to take ownership of their decisions. They blame the timing, the economy, their upbringing, their partner, their boss, anything except themselves. But responsibility doesn't ask where you came from, it asks where you're going. It doesn't care about your excuses, it cares about your actions. When you wake up owning your choices, your standards rise naturally. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what am I doing that's creating this? That question alone can change your entire trajectory. Every morning, responsibility reminds you that nobody owes you anything. Not success, not happiness, not understanding. And once you accept that, you stop waiting. Waiting for validation, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to notice your potential. You move differently when you understand that your progress is your obligation. You stop expecting the world to be fair and start demanding more from yourself. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop expecting help, help shows up. Because the world responds to people who move with ownership. Responsibility sharpens your focus. It makes your time more valuable. It makes your word matter. When you say you're going to do something, you do it. Not because someone is watching, but because you are watching. Responsibility also changes how you handle failure. Instead of collapsing, you analyze. Instead of quitting, you adjust. You stop saying, I failed, and start saying, that didn't work, what's next? Because when everything is someone else's fault, failure feels permanent. But when everything is your responsibility, failure becomes feedback. And feedback is fuel for growth. Every successful person you admire learned this early. Blaming keeps you emotional. Ownership keeps you effective. Responsibility turns pain into your progress. It forces you to extract lessons instead of excuses. And when you start your day with that mindset, setbacks lose their power to break you. They become part of the process instead of the end of the story. There is a weight that comes with responsibility, and most people try to avoid it. But that weight builds muscle. Emotional muscle, mental muscle, character. You become dependable, not just to others, but to yourself. You trust yourself because you've proven that you will act even when it's uncomfortable. Responsibility teaches you to lead yourself before you ever try to lead anyone else. You stop needing external motivation because your internal standard is higher. You don't need applause to perform, you don't need praise to persist. You understand that your daily actions are shaping your identity, and you take that seriously. When you wake up listening to responsibility, you walk into the day grounded, focused, and unshakable. And here's the part most people miss. Responsibility is freedom. Real freedom. Not the freedom to do whatever you want, but the freedom to become who you're capable of being. When you accept responsibility for your habits, your thoughts, your reactions, and your effort, nothing can permanently trap you. You may get delayed, you may get challenged, you may get tested, but you won't be defeated because the power is back where it belongs, in your hands. Responsibility means your future is not dependent on luck or approval. It means every morning is a fresh opportunity to build momentum. And momentum, once it's moving, is hard to stop. So tomorrow morning, don't ask for an easier life. Ask for stronger discipline. Don't look for someone to blame. Look for something to improve. Stand up, look responsibility in the face and say, this is on me and I'm ready. Because the moment you fully own your life is the moment your life finally starts to rise. The moment you wake up, a battle begins. Not outside of you, inside. Your body wants comfort. Your mind wants ease, your emotions want familiarity. And if you're not careful, those emotions will take control of your entire day before you even realize it. This is why most people live on autopilot, repeating the same habits, the same mistakes, the same excuses year after year. They listen to how they feel, instead of what they know needs to be done. But the people who separate themselves, the ones who rise, the ones who lead, the ones who win, understand this early. Feelings are temporary, but discipline builds permanent results. If you let emotion decide your actions in the morning, you hand your future over to impulse. Discipline is not loud, it doesn't hype you up, it doesn't make emotional speeches. Discipline is quiet, firm and consistent. It speaks in simple instructions: get up, move forward, do the work. And most people ignore it because it doesn't feel exciting. But excitement has never built anything sustainable. Discipline is what shows up when motivation disappears. It's what keeps you moving when the initial passion fades. When you listen to discipline in the morning, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking, can I afford to skip this today? And start saying, this is non-negotiable. And the moment something becomes non-negotiable, it becomes part of who you are, not just something you try to do. Every time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen your identity. You prove to yourself that you can be trusted. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. People think confidence comes from winning, but confidence actually comes from preparation and consistency. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. Discipline builds those habits quietly, daily, without drama. It doesn't care if you're tired, it doesn't care if you're inspired. It only cares that you show up. And when you start your morning obeying discipline, your entire day aligns. You become sharper in your decisions, calmer under pressure, and more focused on execution instead of excuses. Emotions, on the other hand, are unpredictable. They shift with sleep, stress, environment, and circumstances. If your work ethic depends on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Some days you'll be unstoppable, other days you'll disappear. Discipline removes that instability. It creates rhythm, it creates structure. It allows you to perform at a high level regardless of what's happening internally or externally. When you listen to discipline in the morning, you gain control over your time and energy. You stop letting mood dictate movement. You move first, and the motivation follows later. That's how real momentum is built. Discipline also teaches patience. It reminds you that progress is not always visible immediately. That growth happens beneath the surface before it shows up in results. Emotional people quit too early because they expect instant feedback. Disciplined people keep going because they understand the process. They know that mastery is built through repetition, not bursts of effort. When you wake up listening to discipline, you accept the long game. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop comparing your timeline to others. You focus on daily execution, trusting that consistency will compound. And it always does. Over time, discipline reshapes your self-image. You no longer see yourself as someone who tries. You see yourself as someone who does. You don't wait to feel ready. You move while uncomfortable. You don't need perfect conditions. You create them through action. Discipline turns potential into performance, and the more you practice it in the morning, the more automatic it becomes. What once felt hard becomes normal. What once required effort becomes identity. You don't rise because you're special. You rise because you're disciplined when others are emotional. So, tomorrow morning, when your feelings try to negotiate, don't argue with them, ignore them. Tend to discipline. Do what needs to be done before you decide how you feel about it. Because emotions change, motivation fades, but discipline builds the life most people only talk about. And if you master discipline in the morning, you will master your future. Every morning, before the world fully wakes up, There is a quiet voice inside you asking for direction. And right beside it, there's another voice, louder, more urgent, more aggressive. That second voice is fear. Fear of failing again, fear of being judged, fear of wasting time, fear of stepping into something bigger than you've ever handled before. Fear loves the morning because your defenses are low and your mind is still soft. If you don't consciously choose what you listen to, fear will gladly choose for you. And the tragedy is this: fear doesn't show up to protect your future. It shows up to preserve your comfort. If you listen to it first thing in the morning, you'll spend the rest of the day playing small. Fear speaks in familiar language. It reminds you of past mistakes and dresses them up as wisdom. It tells you you're being realistic when in truth you're being limited. It says, be careful, when what it really means is, don't grow. And the more you listen to it, the more convincing it becomes. But here's what you must understand. Fear has no vision. It can only see backward. It cannot imagine the person you are becoming. It can only replay the person you used to be. That's why listening to fear in the morning locks you into yesterday's version of yourself. You wake up with yesterday's doubts, yesterday's limits, yesterday's disappointments. And then you wonder why nothing changes. Your future speaks differently. It doesn't shout. It doesn't panic. It doesn't rush you with worst-case scenarios. The future asks questions that stretch you. It asks what kind of life you want to look back on. It asks whether comfort is really more important than growth. It asks whether you're willing to be misunderstood in order to become who you're meant to be. When you listen to your future in the morning, you don't ignore fear. You just don't let it lead. You acknowledge it and then you move anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else matters more. And that decision is easiest to make when the day is still young. Listening to your future also changes how you define risk. Fear tells you risk is trying and failing. The future tells you the real risk is never trying at all. Fear magnifies short-term discomfort. The future reveals long-term regret. When you wake up focused on your future, you start making choices based on where you want to be, not where you are. You stop asking, what if this doesn't work? And start asking, what happens if I don't act? That shift is powerful. It moves you from hesitation to execution, from dreaming to building, from talking about change to becoming it. The future also demands patience and discipline. It doesn't promise instant results. It doesn't reward emotional decision-making. It rewards consistency. Fear wants immediate relief. The future is willing to wait for lasting fulfillment. When you listen to your future in the morning, you accept delayed gratification. You understand that the work you do today may not pay off today, but it will pay off. That understanding keeps you grounded when results are slow and challenges stack up. You don't quit because you're not chasing a feeling. You're building a life. And life is built one deliberate morning at a time. Over time, listening to your future reshapes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone trying to avoid mistakes and start seeing yourself as someone committed to growth. You don't need certainty to move forward. You need conviction. You don't need guarantees. You need courage. Fear loses its grip when you consistently choose action aligned with your future vision. It still shows up, but it no longer controls you. And that's when momentum starts. Momentum doesn't come from confidence. Confidence comes from momentum. You move, you learn, you adjust, and you rise. So tomorrow morning, when fear tries to speak first, don't silence it, outgrow it. Listen to your future. Listen to the person you're becoming. Make decisions that your future self will thank you for. Because fear will always ask you to stay where you are, but your future is waiting for you to step forward. And the life you want will only meet you once you're brave enough to move toward it. When you wake up in the morning, your first emotional posture toward life matters more than you realize. Before ambition kicks in, before goals start shouting, before pressure begins demanding results, there must be something grounding you. That something is gratitude, not the shallow kind that posts quotes and moves on, but a deep, disciplined gratitude that centers you. Because without gratitude, ambition turns toxic. It becomes desperate, impatient, and fragile. People who skip gratitude wake up feeling behind, lacking, already losing. And when you start your day from a place of lack, everything feels heavier. Gratitude reminds you that you are already standing on solid ground. You are alive. You have another chance. You are still in the game. That awareness doesn't make you complacent, it makes you powerful. Gratitude shifts your mindset from entitlement to responsibility. When you wake up believing the world owes you something, every obstacle feels personal. Every delay feels unfair. But when you wake up grateful, you understand that nothing is owed. Everything is an opportunity. That perspective changes how you work. You stop complaining about what you have to do and start recognizing what you get to do. You get to learn. You get to try again. You get to build. Gratitude humbles you just enough to keep you hungry, and it strengthens you just enough to keep you focused. It clears the mental fog that comes from constant comparison, and reminds you that your journey is your own. Listening to gratitude in the morning also stabilizes your emotions. Life will test you, pressure will show up, plans will fall apart. But gratitude acts like an anchor in rough water. It keeps you from overreacting to every challenge. It reminds you that one bad moment does not erase everything good in your life. When you're grateful, you respond instead of react. You think clearer. You choose better. You don't let frustration hijack your discipline. Gratitude doesn't deny difficulty, it just refuses to let difficulty define the entire day. And that emotional stability is a competitive advantage most people overlook. Gratitude also sharpens ambition instead of dulling it. Some people think being grateful means settling. That's a lie. Real gratitude fuels excellence. When you're grateful for your skills, you work to sharpen them. When you're grateful for opportunity, you refuse to waste it. When you're grateful for progress, you push for more. Gratitude reminds you how far you've come, so you don't quit when the next step feels hard. It turns pressure into purpose. It keeps ambition clean, focused on growth, not ego. And clean ambition lasts longer. It doesn't burn you out, it builds you up. When you wake up grateful, your energy changes, and energy is contagious. You speak differently, you move differently, you treat people differently. Gratitude pulls you out of your head and back into the present moment. It reduces anxiety about the future and regret about the past. It grounds you in what you can control right now. And when you're present, your work improves, your listening improves, your execution improves. Gratitude doesn't make life easier, but it makes you stronger, calmer, and more effective in the middle of it. Over time, listening to gratitude every morning reshapes your identity. You stop defining yourself by what's missing and start defining yourself by what's possible. You develop resilience because you're no longer emotionally dependent on outcomes. You give your best effort without attaching your worth to the result. That's real strength. Gratitude builds inner security, and inner security allows you to take bigger risks, stay consistent longer, and recover faster when things don't go your way. You don't need constant validation when you wake up grounded in appreciation. So, tomorrow morning, before you chase more, Acknowledge what already is. Before you demand the next level, respect the ground you're standing on. Listen to gratitude first, not to slow you down, but to steady you. Because a grateful mind is a focused mind, a strong mind, and a dangerous mind. And when gratitude leads your morning, ambition will follow with clarity, discipline, and unstoppable momentum. Most people wake up already measuring themselves against the wrong thing. They look sideways before they look inward. They check what everyone else is doing, how everyone else is living, what everyone else thinks is acceptable. And without realizing it, they lower their own expectations to fit in. The crowd is comfortable. The crowd is familiar. The crowd will clap for average and criticize excellence, because excellence exposes their excuses. If you listen to the crowd in the morning, you will spend the rest of the day trying to blend in instead of standing out. And blending in has never changed a life. Standards do. A standard is not an opinion, it's a line you refuse to cross. When you wake up listening to your standard, you don't ask what's popular, you ask what's required. The crowd operates on convenience. Your standard operates on commitment. The crowd does what feels good. Today, the standard does what builds tomorrow. And here's the truth. Most people won't admit the crowd is inconsistent. Some days they're motivated, some days they disappear. Some days they talk big, some days they hide. If you measure yourself against inconsistency, you will become inconsistent. But when you listen to your standard every morning, you become predictable in the best way. Predictably disciplined, predictably prepared, predictably focused. You don't need external pressure to perform because your internal expectation is already high. You don't wait to be watched. You don't wait to be praised. You perform because that's who you decided to be. Your standard also protects you from mediocrity disguised as normal. Average behavior is everywhere. Late starts, half effort, broken promises to self. The crowd normalizes these things, calls them human, shrugs them off. But the standard doesn't care how common something is. It cares how costly it is. Every time you lower the bar just for today, you train yourself to accept less tomorrow. When you wake up listening to your standard, you remember what excellence costs and you willingly pay the price. You understand that comfort is expensive. It charges you your potential. And you refuse to pay that bill. Listening to the standard in the morning also strengthens your self-respect. Self-respect doesn't come from compliments, it comes from alignment. From doing what you said you would do. From showing up when it would be easier not to. The crowd seeks approval. The standard seeks integrity. And integrity builds a quiet confidence that no opinion can shake. When you live by a standard, criticism doesn't derail you, and praise doesn't distract you. You don't rise or fall based on reactions. You stay grounded because your worth is not outsourced to other people's moods. The standard also sharpens your decision-making. When pressure hits, when options pull at you, when shortcuts appear attractive, the standard speaks clearly. It asks one simple question: does this align with who I'm becoming? If not, the answer is no. No debate, no justification. That clarity saves time, energy, and regret. The crowd overthinks because they have no anchor. The standard simplifies because it is the anchor. When you wake up listening to it, you move through the day with precision instead of confusion. You waste less time explaining yourself and more time executing. Over time, living by a standard reshapes your environment. You attract people who respect discipline and repel those who thrive on excuses. You stop needing to convince anyone of your seriousness. Your actions do the talking. The crowd may not understand you at first. They may question your intensity, your boundaries, your consistency. But eventually, results speak louder than opinions. And when results show up, the same crowd that doubted you will call you lucky. never realizing that luck is just discipline applied over time. The standard doesn't seek validate. Ion, it creates outcomes. So tomorrow morning, don't ask what everyone else is doing. Ask what excellence demands. Set the bar before the world tries to lower it. Listen to your standard, live by it, protect it. Because the crowd will always settle, but the standard will always elevate. And if you commit to the standard long enough, one day the crowd won't be watching you. They'll be trying to catch up.